Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video you can tell by the background I'm going to bring you along into one of the things that I absolutely love to do for myself and for my husband, and that is making ginger turmeric shots. Let me give you a little bit of backstory. I am someone that is in the 98th percentile, high risk of colon cancer. My father passed away at the tender age of 65 from stage 4 colon cancer. My oldest brother was diagnosed 3 years ago with rectal cancer. It is something that runs in our family, and I need to be in front of it. And one of the ways that I took control of my gut health, number one, was 3 years ago when my brother was diagnosed. I completely cut out animal product. It was not for any other reason except for life or death in my instance. I know that it was a contributor to my ongoing polyps. I was at the very young age of 37, I got my first colonoscopy. I have been going for colonoscopies every 6 months for 14 years. I stopped eating meat. 9 months later, I had my colonoscopy and they found 0 polyps for the first time in 14 and a half years. I can't tell you what a relief that was. And I will share more about that journey at a different time. But for today, one of the additions that I've added to my routine are ginger turmeric shots. Ginger turmeric shots have so many wonderful benefits. You know, 80% of our nerve endings is in our gut. It's our second brain. They say that for a reason. It regulates a lot of the mechanisms in our body. And I have found that taking ginger turmeric shots on a daily basis helps with reducing inflammation. It helps with brain fog. It helps with sleep and digestion. It reduces bloat, right? There are so many wonderful benefits of ginger turmeric. Ginger and turmeric is something that has been around for centuries. And I use it in a raw form. I do not use powder, but if you have powder, you can definitely use that. I prefer to use food in its most natural source. And so I'm going to turn this camera around and I will show you my setup. But 4 months ago, I invested in a really good quality cold pressed juicer. And I did that because I was spending a mini fortune buying these ginger turmeric shots at our local grocery store. And I wanted to make sure that I knew what was going inside. And so I probably do this every 2 to 3 weeks. I make enough for my husband and I to last us 2. We can sometimes push it into 3 weeks. But I enjoy it because I know that overall it is helping me long term. It is helping my gut health. It is helping me with longevity and inflammation and joint pain, all of the things. So let me turn this camera around so I can show you a little bit of my kitchen and a little bit of what I am going to do over the next maybe 30, 45 minutes. Stay tuned. Is my setup. Let's first start with the juicer, the star of the show. This is a Nama J2 juicer. This is a huge investment, at least for me, but it is so worth it because I'm saving a lot of money in the long run. I'm already at the point that I am saving money after using this now for about 4 months. I think I've had it. But I love it. It is a cold pressed juicer. I can batch juice. I actually just got a larger hopper and larger pitcher set. So this is the pitcher for the liquid. This is the pitcher for the pulp. This also catches a lot of the pulp. This is a strainer. And then it has a press for the strainer to make sure you get every single ounce of juice out. I always set myself up for success, and I purchased these glass jars from Amazon. They are 2 ounces. I know they look bigger, but they're not. They're actually 2-ounce jars, and they're all washed and ready for me to go. Here are all the lids. So this is how I set myself up every time I am going to juice. And then here we have the actual ingredients. I have 3 whole pineapples here that I have cut and put into my bowl. In here we have, I think it's 8 navel oranges, 4 lemons, and 4 limes. Why do I add both? I add them because they actually help to preserve the shots. If you don't add lemon and lime, you may have a shorter shelf life on your shots. So it's important that you add some kind of acidity into your shots to keep them longer, to keep them fresher longer. The star of the show here is turmeric. I probably have about 2 pounds of turmeric here, or maybe 1.5 pounds. I get this at my local grocery store, And yeah, I just put these in whole right into the hopper. I do not peel the ginger or the turmeric because it will come out from here, and I'll show you that once I get to that point. And then we have about a pound of ginger here. This is fresh ginger that I have pulled apart. And again, this goes whole into the hopper, and you will see. This is what I love about the Nama J2 juicer, because it allows me to not have to peel, and I can put in pretty big chunks. I just choose to cut them down smaller so that I can fit them in here as the juicing continues. But that's just my preference. You don't have to. You can really just keep this in really large chunks, which I have done, but using this smaller hopper, it takes up a lot of room. So I find that the smaller the pieces, the quicker the juicing process goes. Enough explaining. Now I'm going to start juicing. I will bring you along. So what I'm going to do is I am going to actually add the pineapple first. Your hands do get very sticky, I will say. So just be near a sink, have some paper towels prepared, and there is no particular amount that I enter. I just go in and I pile this bad baby up, turn it on, and let it do its thing. That is the beauty about the Nama J2, is you can just throw everything in, walk away, and forget about it. I'll show you right now. So what it's doing is it's actually spinning around the blade, and it is pulling the juice from everything that I just put in. With the ginger turmeric, I will say that it does go by pretty fast. The juicing process is really quickly, unlike the green juice. The green juice does take a little bit longer, but this is definitely really fast. And you can see the beautiful color that it has. And honestly, you just keep opening this and letting it pour into the pitcher. I do have a separate pitcher on the side. I'll show it to you. I have this pitcher inside of my sink because I take it out of here and I actually pour it into here, because this is what I use to pour it into my glass jars. Again, making sure that you are prepared and that you are set up for success, because this process does go by really, really fast. Now what I'm going to do is just fill this hopper up again. I'm going to continue this process until I am done, and I will show you the finished product. Let me show you from a different angle what this looks like. Look at that beautiful color. And then this is the pulp that comes out. The reason why I add this bag, my daughter actually gave me this idea, is turmeric does stain, and this allows for easy cleanup. I just get these produce bags from our local grocery store, and I let the pulp go inside of here, and then all I have to do is lift this and throw it away. It makes for very easy cleanup. Not that this juicer requires a lot of cleaning. It really is user-friendly, and they have thought of everything when it comes to this juicer. I'm back and I'm all done. I had to change out from my other smaller pitcher into this bigger pitcher because I did buy an extra pineapple. So I need to make sure that I have the right pitcher. Let me also share an important piece. When you are making cold press ginger turmeric shots, in order for you to activate the turmeric, you need to add black pepper. It's very important. You cannot leave out the black pepper. So what I do is I wait for the whole batch to be finished, and then I just count in my head, right? I have about, 25 little jars. So I do about 20 little turns just to make sure 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So one little turn in this my little black pepper grounder. I do 21 little spins. I add that in there, and with my little trusted wooden spoon, what I do is I just make sure that it's nice and blended. It's also because I did it in batches. It's important for you to really stir your green juice, your ginger turmeric. Just make sure it's very well combined, because otherwise you're gonna have stuff that's going to be a little bit tangier if you do them in different batches and you separate them, and then you just try to pour that batch into a jar. It's going to taste completely different. So make sure that you stir the whole batch in one shot. Mix everything together, have it nicely well blended. You're going to get some black pepper that's just going to sit at the top. That's fine, I don't worry about that. And once you're done with that, you wanna make sure you throw this in the sink, run some water under it. It will stain everything. So give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Also, another thing that I learned in this whole process was I ordered a black blender on purpose. They do have the hoppers, which is the big part where you put everything in. They do come in different colors. I'm sorry, that's a lie. The base comes in different colors. Because I knew I was going to make ginger turmeric shots, I did not want a white one or a gray one. My fear was that it was going to get stained and look funky, and that doesn't work well with my brain. So I didn't want to go down that route. Now that everything is well blended, I am ready to pour them into my little glass jars. Let me show you what I meant about the plastic grocery bag. This is just a really good tip for you because it avoids the stain and a little bit less cleanup. I do still rinse this out, but I don't have to scrub. So you just literally fill it up. Look at this. And then you just throw this away. I love these little produce bags. If you have them, I always, every time I go to the grocery store, I always grab at least 5, anywhere from 5 to 10, depending on what I have going on for my meal prep. And I use this for meal prep. I use this when I'm throwing food out of my refrigerator, out of my glass containers. I put them in these bags. You will be surprised how strong and sturdy these are. Let me show you the peels of all of the pineapples, the oranges, the limes, and the lemons. Look at this. Look at how heavy this is. It is not leaking. This has the pineapple peels on the bottom. It has the oranges, the lemons, and the limes. And this is what I use. This is the one that they use seasonally for corn. And when I tell you that my local grocery store, they must know that I'm coming in because I take at least anywhere from 15 to 20 bags because they are so good. This is for the corn, the seasonal corn. Okay, corn on the cob. Let me put this over here. Here's something else that I figured out with my blender. The first time I made ginger turmeric shots, because I was making green juice as well, unfortunately, I let the ginger turmeric stuff, I left it in my blender too long and I didn't wash it right away. Even though some of the parts are black, they still got a little bit stained. So one of the things that I do personally, and again, this is just my thing, I wash everything right away. So basically the only thing that I have to clean once I'm done here is this pitcher and the wooden spoon. I have already washed everything. It's all drying. I make sure that I wash that as soon as I am done juicing. Something else that people do with this is they actually boil a little bit of it and they make ginger turmeric tea. And you can do that too. You just would need a strainer. What you would do is you would put this in a pot, put some water, not all of it. You would use a couple tablespoons. Let the water come up to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, let it simmer for maybe about 20 minutes or so on a low simmer. You take a little sieve and you pour it through the sieve and then you can sip on the tea. Warning, it is very, very strong. Just a warning, but it is so good for your gut. All right, I am going to pour a couple of these so you guys can see. Here are the lids. These are really small lids, but what we do is when we take our shot in the morning, we rinse this out, we put a little bit of dish detergent in it, we put the lid on it, we flip it upside down, we leave it like that for about an hour, and then the lids do not get stained. See that? So my husband and I, we just figured this out on our own. But these are super cheap. I think they're cheap on Amazon. And the reason why I love glass, number one, like I said, turmeric stains. I was afraid of getting the plastic ones. I have one more plastic one here. These are 2-ounce jars, and I usually fill it up right above the lip of the jar. Just our way of pouring. We do not pour it below the lip of it. That's just what works for us. These are 2 ounces. You can do more. You can do larger shots. For us, 2 ounces is our sweet spot. That's normally what we bought at our local grocery store. Let me tell you something. I would buy them in a pack of 4. For 4 2-ounce ginger turmeric shots, it cost us $14.99. If you want high quality organic products in your ginger turmeric shots, which I highly recommend, they're going to be expensive. I was paying $30 a week on ginger turmeric shots. That was $120 a month just on ginger turmeric shots. Not to mention me buying 16 ounces of the green juice bottle. I now make my own green juice. I know what I'm putting in it. I know all of the ingredients. And for me, that is golden. I will put in the work. The green juice, I make enough for almost 2 weeks. And then the ginger turmeric shots, I probably make enough for about pushing closer to 3 weeks. And it's worth it. The whole process, if I was to do both ginger turmeric shots and my green juice, takes me about 3 hours if I'm doing it alone. If my husband is helping me, we get through it a lot faster. Let me clean this up. Hold on. I'm sorry. This is my first time actually recording myself doing this. So just bear with me, guys. I'm trying over here. And this pitcher is completely full. So let me talk a little bit about my journey and how I got here. I said it in the beginning that I was going for colonoscopies every 6 months. So on January, mid-January and mid-June, I had my standing appointments with my gastroenterologist to get my colonoscopies. So January, I would only get a colonoscopy. And then in June, I would get a colonoscopy, a sigmoidoscopy, and an endoscopy. Now, some of you may be thinking, why? Why so many oscopies? That is because the type of cancer that my father had, may he rest in peace, he had it in his small intestine. And it's very hard to see that with a regular colonoscopy. So as an extra safety measure, my gastroenterologist liked to do the sigmoid and the endoscopy in addition to the colonoscopy. So in January, it was just colonoscopy. In June, I had 3 things done. My prep was longer than usual, than the average. And that, again, is because I had polyps every 6 months. The very first time I had a colonoscopy done, I was 37 years old. My father passed away in May of 2006. And in January of 2007, I had my first colonoscopy. And I had, ready for this? 14 polyps. 37 years old, 14 polyps. Now, mind you, 18 years ago, can't believe it's been 18 years. 18 years ago, the average age for a colonoscopy, you had to be 50 or older. But because I had a predisposition and I had a family history, my gastroenterologist really pushed with my insurance company to get me approved at 37 years old. And I'm so thankful that I found him and thankful that he was able to push for me for that. And thank God he did, because I would not be here today. He makes that very clear to me every time he sees me. Thank God that I pushed and I advocated for myself, but also that he did as well on his end, because I would not be here. And if I was here, I would not be whole. I would most likely have a colostomy bag. I would be going through some kind of treatment for my cancer because I would definitely have cancer. And so for me at 37, it was a scare, but I wasn't scared enough to make major drastic changes. I had upper GI issues since my mid-20s. After I had my children and into my 30s, I suffered from major GI issues. I didn't know why. I had a ton of tests done in my 20s and in my 30s. I had all kinds of stuff done, but I never had a colonoscopy. And then after I had my colonoscopy, they removed the polyps, but I still suffered from GI issues. I'm jumping around in this story because it still makes me emotional and it makes me a little bit anxious when I talk about it. Just thinking of everything I had to go through. And so my prep, I know I started that and I didn't finish. So my prep was longer than the average prep. Normally, people that go for a standard colonoscopy, the day before the colonoscopy, they cannot eat anything after, let's say, noontime, depending on the time of their colonoscopy. The day before, they are on, clear liquids. And then they start the prep, the actual prep for the colonoscopy, right? To empty out their colon. So let's say my colonoscopy was on a Friday. The average person would go and start prepping on a Thursday. My preps started Wednesday afternoon. And that is because they needed to really make sure that I had nothing in my tract, complete from here to the other side. They needed to make sure that I had nothing. So I suffered a lot. That was a lot for me to go through every 6 months. And I will say every 6 months, I had this level of anxiety and nervousness and anxiousness because I didn't know what they were going to find. You know, the fear of them finding cancer every 6 months was a never-ending story. And when my brother was diagnosed in May of 2021 of stage 3 rectal cancer, overnight, I stopped eating animal products because in my research, in my own personal research, I knew how animal product contributed to colorectal cancers. But because of just lifestyle, habit, our culture, it wasn't something that I felt I ate an overabundance of, so why did I need to stop? The confirmation came when I stopped eating meat in May. I had my standard colonoscopy, endoscopy, sigmoidoscopy that June of 2021, and they found 2 polyps. Now, mind you, since they removed the 14, I always had anywhere between 2 and 5 polyps every 6 months. Yes, scary stuff. And not regular polyps. These are polyps that were the fast moving ones, which is the one that my father had, the ones that my father had. So anyway, I went through this process. And then in January, I was scheduled for my next standing colonoscopy. Because remember, I had them scheduled ahead of time. The nurse staff just would schedule me and hand me my little cards and say, okay, see you in 6 months. And that was the case for 14 years. I went in January, and I remember when I woke up from the anesthesia, I was still in a lot of pain. It was a lot of discomfort and very different than what I have ever been through in my process. This was more painful than when they removed the 14 polyps. And I didn't know why I was in such discomfort and so much pain when I woke up. So the doctor comes in and, they discuss the findings and next appointment, right? It was standard. And when I came to out of anesthesia, my doctor was already there, my gastroenterologist. And I looked at him and I remember coming out, but I also remember having this out-of-body experience of being so afraid of him just standing there and what he was going to tell me. And he said, Lisette, what have you done? What have you done differently? And I got scared. I went, what do you mean? So he waited for me to come out of full, you know, the nurse had to tell him, just become really close to your doctors when you see them every 6 months. And once I got dressed and they put me in the chair, it just took me a really long time. I had a hard time. I had a lot of pressure, a lot of pain. I didn't know what was happening. Come to find out that he actually kept me under a little longer because, ready for this? He could not find any polyps. And to him, he thought he was missing something. He thought that one was hidden, that there was something wrong. And he continued to check because for 14 straight years, every 6 months, he found polyps. And he wanted to make sure, knowing the severity of the case of my brother and my father passing away, he wanted to do his due diligence to make sure that he checked as much as he could. So he had to, you know, pump my stomach with extra air and move things around. And that was the cause of my discomfort. That was the cause of why I was in so much pain when he was done. So I'm sitting down in the chair, right? I'm finally able to sit down and catch my breath. And I'm in the outpatient surgery center. And he comes in the room and he's almost in tears. And he says, Lisette, I could not find any polyps. What have you done? Your colon is the cleanest I have seen it in 14 years. What have you done? And I started crying. And he started crying. He literally sat there and held my hand, and we were both, I could cry right now. We were both crying together. This is a journey. When you go see a doctor for that long, they're like family. And so he was just in shock, in complete shock. So I told him what I did. One simple change, I stopped eating meat. No animal product. And he was emotional because he was happy for me. He was happy that I could finally rest better. I didn't have to worry as much as I had been worrying as a young woman. And he still wasn't 100% sure though, because he wanted me to schedule my next 6 months. He goes, I know we didn't find any polyps, but I can't let you off the hook that easily. So I need you to come back in June. And we're gonna do this for a year. We're gonna do this for a year because I need to make sure. I said, okay. So June came around, no polyps. January came around, no polyps. I finally graduated from having colonoscopies every 6 months for 14 years, 15 long years, to now going every 2.5 to 3 years. That's a lot. Most of you say, I don't even want to go back in 10 years or 5 years. I know, I understand. So when people ask me, Lisette, why are you giving up meat? What is that all about? Like, people actually get offended when you tell them you don't eat animal product. They think that it's for all of these, I don't know, crazy reasons. And my response to them is because my life, literally my life depends on it. And when I share with them a little bit of my story, the look on their faces, like, oh, I'm sorry, yes, I understand. I would too. And so that has been my journey. And 6 months ago, I embarked on this juicing journey, and I take my ginger turmeric shots. I will tell you the inflammation, the back pain that I used to feel, the fatigue, the tiredness that I used to feel, the belly bloat that I had, it doesn't compare. And that is as a result of these ginger turmeric shots. I am due for my colonoscopy in January of this year of 2025. And I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous. But I'm also excited and happy to go because I am doing everything in my power. I do this for longevity. I do this for a healthy mind and body. I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, and I don't want to be that grandmother that can't pick her up, that can't run up and down the stairs with her, that can't sit on the floor and get up. And I do these things so that I can be here for her. So if you have been wanting to start a juicing journey or start taking ginger turmeric shots, I hope that this video has helped you. I hope that you have gained a little something from this. And if nothing else, I've shared a little bit more about me, because that is my purpose and my goal of this channel, is to bring you a little inside look into my life as much as I can, and share my experiences, share my journeys in different parts and different areas of my life and fitness journey, my mental health, my physical health. Those things are very, very important. I am just about done here. You can tell that I have just been working away over here, doing my little shots. I do have quite a bit left over, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is I am going to pour this into a mason jar, and I'm going to store that because it's airtight. So I don't have to worry about any air getting in. Remember, I put lemon and lime in here to preserve it. It helps keep the shelf life a lot longer, extensively longer, when you use a lemon and lime. I'm going to get a mason jar. I'm going to put this in, and then I will check right back. So hold that thought. I just poured my mason jars. I have 2.5, and this is what I do when I have leftover. Mason jars are really good for storing this as well, and green juice. What I do now is, as my husband and I finish these smaller jars, I just take what's in here. Once we have about 5 or 6 of them empty, I can empty out 1 mason jar at a time. So I just go ahead and keep replenishing. And this lasts us about almost 3 weeks, this batch. Not bad, right? Saving a ton of money. Remember I said for 4 of them, I was paying $14.99. That's ridiculous. No one should be paying that kind of money for ginger turmeric juice, but that's convenience. So this is costing me $14.99 for 4. I was paying $30 a week, $120 a month. I don't have my receipt, but average cost for the items that I purchase, I do buy organic. So let's just say for the ginger turmeric shots, I probably spent, with all of the items, like with all of the ginger, the turmeric, the lemon, lime, pineapple, and the oranges, I probably spent, because the most expensive is the turmeric. The ginger is not too bad, but turmeric is very expensive by the pound. And I get that at Whole Foods. I get my ginger and my turmeric at our local Whole Foods, and my oranges, I usually get everything from Whole Foods because it's organic and it's the best. So I would say I spend about $55 every 3 weeks, maybe every month, for ginger turmeric shots, right? Because right here, I have 39 bottles, right? And my husband and I, we need 2 a day. So we have enough for almost 3 weeks just here. Am I doing that math right? 20, yeah. So I'm one shot short of having enough for 20 days. 20 days, that's almost a month. So that's what I have in terms of bottles, right? But I still have all of this. So this is going to take me to about 45 days. 45 days, I spent anywhere from $50 to $60. You guys, I was spending $30 a week on 4 of these. But they actually look like this. They came in a 4-pack. So listen, I say go for it, and make sure you buy yourself a good quality, high-end, good quality cold press juicer. You know, you don't have to spend a ton of money. These are pricey. The Namas are pricey, but they are so well made and they're made to last. So get yourself a really good cold press juicer. Do not try to blend any cold press juice. It's just not going to work. You're actually going to remove a lot of the nutrients when you blend it. Cold press blenders are the way to go. If you want the most nutrition out of the juicing process, is to get yourself a cold press juicer. They have a ton of them on Amazon. There's a brand, my daughter had one. It starts with a B. I forgot the exact name. But that's a pretty good one. And you don't need one as high-end as mine. I've been wanting a Nama juicer, and I decided to just splurge. I'm not into bags, I'm not into shoes, I'm not into makeup. So I spend my money on planners and juicers. Well, one juicer. All right, friends, that is all that I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this version of Lisette. I brought you into my kitchen, into my little beautiful humble kitchen. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will be mix and matching things on here. I'm not going to just talk about pixies. I want to talk a little bit about all things life, okay? Thank you for being here. Thank you for hitting play, and until the next one, adios.